On this day, the world would be introduced to Emmy Jones.
From the moment I found out I was pregnant, I knew right away there was nothing else going to change my mind, that I was going to get this baby.
Emmy Jones is a voice actress in the Sonic community who's caught up in a lot of scandals lately.
Ryan Drummond fucked Emmy Jones with the Sonic voice.
The identity of the anonymous accuser who alleged SA against Saberspark last month has been revealed.
Born on December 17th of 1993, Emmy would grow up to find a love for not only video games, but specifically Sonic the Hedgehog and many other fandoms such as My Little Pony. Spending a lot of her time on the internet, she would find the time to
Wait, what? I just wish that they didn't ruin this year's September. We probably would have had so much more time. Wait, what happened? What do you mean? What did they do?
engross herself in these
Who did? Who
communities,
ruined
growing
it?
a following,
Tell me,
becoming
chat, who
figureheads
ruined
of
it?
them. And after 10 to 15 years of influence, opportunity, and some would go as far to say power, she has used her positioning as a method of gaining more power in this community, planting seeds of division within the community that she's supposed to be growing, deceiving her audience, betraying friends, and ultimately attempting to ruin the real lives of people she simply didn't end on good terms with as a method of revenge. I'm sure as many of you have noticed over the past few months, the mask that Emmy Jones has been wearing for this time has almost completely evaporated. But for years, that mask has slowly been cracking, many people trying to get through that the person that Emmy makes herself out to be has never been who she is. Over the 30 years of the Sonic franchise's existence, we've seen many notable figures, but I believe, and I say with good authority, that Emmy Jones might be the first villain that it has seen. An evil queen, if you will, that has risen up the ranks, using the persona of a sweet, innocent girl to connect herself with the inner circle of the people who are behind her favorite franchise, befriending fellow large community figures and then beheading them at the slightest showing of unloyalty, and using her audience by spreading lies, all for the purpose of money and gain. This is the fall of Emmy Jones, the Sonic community's evil queen.
Coming up. Let's do it.
I didn't know
Dr.
she was
Phil
on
is
Dr.
a
Phil. That's
unique
crazy.
place for a Sonic influencer to first make
Discounts
their
were really specific, basically for like upgrading a sub rather than just normal gifts. Yeah. Plus the bonus subs were a lot more limited too. Yeah, I think last year too during September as well. I also like the Valorant gifting thing happened, but it was a little longer. That's why I was like, wow, they did it really fucking short this year.
appearance. Naturally, it's usually through YouTube videos. But at the age of 16, Emmy Jones would become pregnant with her child, a decision that her family was not happy about. They would then write into Dr. Phil, a very famous
Yeah, this
show
year was
where
like
he
3
gives advice
days.
to
Yeah,
young
I was like,
children and
what?
families
It was
who are going
longer
through
than
their own
that.
family problems. They went this route instead of seeking out a private professional. I think it should be stated first up that Dr. Phil is a terrible, awful show. While there are some true characters that have graced this screen and that too deserve to be called out for being awful children, Emmy, along with a lot of other kids on this show, are just confused and lost teenagers who are being humiliated in front of millions of people on national television. And Emmy was one of these kids who decided herself that she did not want to abort or give her kid up for adoption. At the age of 17, she would eventually give birth to her daughter Lucy, and I just want to state this here, we will not be discussing her child for the duration of this video. Not only does she play little to no role in the story that we're going to be telling, but also in any of the drama or controversy, but let alone that, she is a child and does not deserve to be drug into this. But after these events, she would go on to live a relatively normal life.
I should, dude, if I ever have a kid, you are not hearing from me from social media. I'm not posting my kid onto social media. You know what I mean? My kid is not gonna have social media until she's like in high school. Sorry. They're in high school. I don't know why I said she. They're not having social media until they're in high school. And yeah, bro, I just don't think that publicly announcing that I have I'm gonna let people know, but yeah, I'm having a child, but no one's gonna know what my child looks like. I'm not having anywhere like media. No. I'm literally low-key gonna rent an office outside of from my house, just so that people don't have to hear my child, in a sense of I want my child's privacy safer. You know what I mean? Guys, Annie has a daughter.
Graduating high school, which she previously thought she
I will
wasn't
not be having a boy.
going to be able to do as a teenager. working mother, as well as working jobs, things were
I will get my own
normal
office
at that time.
outside
This is
of
around the early
my
2010s,
home.
when
That
the internet
way-
is really properly
that
getting
way
started. More specifically, the social media
my
age.
child
YouTube
has
is
their
already at this
privacy,
point an
bro.
established veteran website on the internet. Other
That's if
social
I
media
continue to
sites
do
like
content.
Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, it's becoming incredibly easy to share yourself and your interests, which Emmy developed a lot of. As a child, she gravitated towards a lot of different brands, but two stuck out in particular: Sonic the Hedgehog and My Little Pony. The latter surprisingly being what kicks off this downward trajectory. She became very engrossed in this community. In the early 2010s, more specifically 2012, My Little Pony really took off.
My Little Pony. This cartoon about pastel ponies has developed a cult following.
In 2010, My Little Pony Friendship is Magic would debut on the Hub, which would later go on to be rebranded as Discovery Family. The show would run for almost an entire decade, and would go on to be one of the most defining cartoons of that time, rebirthing what was essentially just a glorified toy line into a pop culture juggernaut, specifically having a grip on the internet. Communities would be born across the various social media platforms we discussed, eventually cultivating an actual real-life conventions taking place.
Oh, what
while
the
completely
fuck?
being fan-run. After starting up podcasts,
What the fuck? This is a kid's show, is it not?
doing music covers, and engaging with fans on social media, Emmy Jones would go on to be one of the most well-known people
What the
in the My
hell,
Little
man?
Pony community. And even if you don't know much about My Little Pony, I assure you've almost certainly heard the term brony. This is a term largely used to define male fans of the My Little Pony franchise, which was an extremely fast and large growing demographic thanks to the recently released television show. And another large prominent creator would
Bronies are a
rise
thing,
amongst the
Annie.
My Little
No,
Pony
I know
community.
that. The shirt. Did you not see the shirt? It was like, it said party hard, and it had the pony's nose bleeding. That's why I was like, oh, what the fuck? It's a kid's show. Hello.
Around the same time as Emmy, that being none other than YouTuber SaberSpark. Around this time, SaberSpark had a decent following, around 20 to 25,000 subscribers, which around this time was a solid number to have on YouTube. But today, in 2025, SaberSpark is one of, if not the biggest animation-centric YouTuber on the entire YouTube platform, sitting at over 2 million subscribers, pulling in absolutely monster views. But back in the 2010s, things were a little more modest, and the two would eventually meet and become friends in the summer
Fire.
of 2012. The two would speak on Skype quite
Oh, yikes.
frequently, mainly about the show, keeping things relatively friendly, but eventually things got personal. The two were discussing their normal lives, and the fact of Emily being a mother was brought up, and how she was no longer with the father of her child.
The father of this baby, who, by the way, has broken up with you, right? He's gonzo. He's just moved on, but you think he still loves you.
This naturally transitioned into the topic of her being single, and things got progressively more flirty between the two. With the convention Canterlot Gardens being set for the 28th through 30th of September, the two were looking at that convention as a place where they could hook up. Strictly under the banner, though, of friends with benefits. The two would eventually meet at the convention, being in a hotel room with a handful of friends, but going off to eventually have sex. The two would hook up, with both parties going on to describe the encounter as brief and disappointing, but would still keep in contact after this happened. Around this time, SaberSpark was having a lot of anxiety about Emmy not getting her period, fearing that she might be pregnant. He feared this because their sex was unprotected, due to Emmy saying that she had an IUD. And despite IUDs being 99% effective, there was always that 1% chance, and also the chance that Emmy was lying. So the two would meet up at a hotel a few months later in November of the same year for Equestria LA, another My Little Pony convention. While initially planning to take the pregnancy test, they decided to wait until the end of the convention, choosing to spend time together and have fun. They were in a relatively empty floor in the hotel, got intimate, and then went into a bathroom to have sex. After this, however, the two wouldn't be necessarily close during the convention, only really having one brief interaction after a screening of the Brony documentary in downtown Disney. As SaberSpark was leaving the theater, he would look over, and once when they made eye contact, she would awkwardly fall down a wall, seeming to have some kind of medical issue, according to him. But after the Disney staff stepped in and gave first aid to Emmy, Saber would eventually leave, and the two would meet up on the final day of the convention so that Emmy could take her pregnancy test, which came back negative. Confused by Emmy's recent behavior and hesitancy to take the pregnancy test, SaberSpark was questioning a lot about her and eventually pulled away from her, not texting back anymore and eventually unfollowing her on Twitter. The two at this point obviously were not on great terms, with Emily being quite upset at SaberSpark for essentially ghosting her. This made conventions very weird, with there being awkward tension between the two, so SaberSpark decided to reach out and patch things up before SaberSpark eventually pulled away again. This lit a fuse under Emmy, a very angry one. And conveniently, while this relationship ended, an interest in another property grew. Around this time, Emmy was getting into cosplaying, but specifically Sonic the Hedgehog cosplay. The shoot seemingly being very high quality, and her also being conventionally attractive, the Sonic fan base took a liking. Emmy was already a pretty big Sonic fan, and with her becoming recently disillusioned with the My Little Pony community, it seemed like the perfect time to jump ship to another fan base. And while a lot of the community was eating up her cosplays, there was one individual who wasn't. Lizzie Silvas, a longtime Sonic the Hedgehog fan who did cosplay and largely credits the Sonic character for helping get her through a brain tumor. This is an objectively powerful story, and a lot of people within Sega or people associated with the Sonic brand took a liking to Lizzie for this reason. But Emmy became very popular very fast. You have to remember, the Sonic community to this day is very much so a boys club. The most popular influencers are male, and that was even more the case back in the day. So when a cute little white girl pops onto the scene and loves Sonic the Hedgehog, wearing spandex cosplay, engaging with the community, and ready to network with larger influencers, Lizzie not only found her cosplay derivative, but took Emmy as a threat, swiftly blocking her on Twitter and going about her business.
That's all she did? I thought she like spread rumors or something. It made it sound like she spread rumors. That's all she did was block her? I thought it was something else. I thought she like was talking shit to her in her DMs like, you stupid ass bitch.
The community and ready to network with larger influencers.
That's totally understandable.
Lizzie not only found her cosplay derivative, but took Emmy as a threat, swiftly blocking her on Twitter and going about her business. While all this was going on, Emmy was befriending some pretty big name creators and influencers in the Sonic scene during the mid-2010s, specifically Matt Mannheimer, the former owner of Tails Channel. If you were a Sonic fan, you are most likely familiar with Tails Channel, whether it is right now in them having a large presence on social media, or when they were a massive, almost conglomerate Sonic corporation on YouTube. They have always held a lot of power and have had a lot of connections with not only Sonic the Hedgehog creators, but Sonic the Hedgehog itself. After creating ties with many people associated with Sega, Matt would go on to become the social media intern for Sonic the Hedgehog under Aaron Weber, the former social media manager for the Sonic the Hedgehog franchise after the company went through a restructuring. Aaron was much more than just the social media manager for Sonic, however, almost completely redefining the character's identity in modern pop culture zeitgeist around the mid to late 2010s as a self-aware, meta-contextual character, which had a lot of fans laughing and a lot of people looking disgusted at what they were trying to turn the Sonic franchise into. He was a part of the pitch team that presented Takashi Iizuka's Sonic Mania, the best received Sonic game at the time since Sonic Adventure 2, and also held a meeting with Jeff Fowler and Tim Miller, which a lot of fans speculate was the moment that they decided to change the movie Sonic design, which went on to reshape the franchise forever. This is an important man, and he will be playing a role very soon. Life was pretty good for Emmy. Around this time, she noticed that Lizzie blocked her, confused as to why she added
Okay. Oh no, bro. Again, like I said, when you air out a block, you're asking for attention, if that makes any sense. And I know that's really rude to say, but from what I've seen, listen, chat, I'm blocked by other VTubers, right? And a lot of them, there's a few of them that are big. I have the opportunity to air them out, but I know what that means when I air them out. I know, and in my heart, that I am asking for attention. Not attention from them, but attention from everyone that's gonna see it. You know what I mean? So it's like, just move on. Just move on. Just move on.
Around this time, she noticed that
move on, man.
Her, confused as to why she added Tails Channel and YouTuber Steven Nux, which directly led to dogpiling. Not just that, but truly a really fucked up reply came after saying, jealous of attention. She feels she should be getting attention for beating cancer when I'm just a pretty cosplayer.
I told you. I told you, bro. Oh my god! I told you, bro!
Truly, a really fucked up reply came after saying, jealous of attention. She feels she should be getting attention for beating cancer when I'm just a pretty cosplayer.
Wow.
A truly fucked up and heinous thing to say about somebody. And from this point forward, Lizzie vowed revenge on Emmy Jones. Now, while yes, Emmy did start this situation off incredibly poorly, recruiting creators and their fans to attack her, and tweeting an incredibly insensitive comment.
Yeah, that's
poorly.
crazy.
Recruiting creators
That's insane to act like her friends. That's crazy too. Oh my god, what a petty bitch.
And their fans to attack her, and tweeting an incredibly insensitive comment. Lizzie to this day has made it her mission to destroy Emmy Jones, creating an at this point one-sided relationship with her where she has harassed, stalked, even sent the cops to her home.
I've called the police station before and they gave me the number, and it's happening by this person. Her name's Elizabeth, and she's been like stalking me.
Now, incredibly insensitive comment. Lizzie to this day has made it her mission to destroy Emmy Jones, creating an at this point one-sided relationship with her where she has harassed,
cease and desist.
stalked, even sent the cops to her home.
I've called the police station before and they gave me the number, and it's happening by this person. Her name's Elizabeth, and she's been like stalking me.
Now, it should be noted that Lizzie is not mentally well, and I think that comes off quite apparent. But at the same time, that does not excuse the actions of Lizzie. Well, yes, she was wronged and horrible things were done and said to her. It does not excuse a lot of her actions after that point. A lot of other videos on Emmy Jones on YouTube cover a lot of Lizzie's stuff and go far more in depth in the drama between these two than we will be today.
Wait, so who sent... Wait, who was the stalker? Wait, I'm so confused. Who's being the stalker? Is it Lizzie or is it Emmy? I'm so confused. It's Lizzie, right?
At this point, one-sided relationship with her where she has harassed, stalked, even sent the cops to her home.
I've called the police station before and they gave me the number, and it's happening
Okay.
by this person. Her name's Elizabeth, and she's been like stalking me.
Now, it should
Maybe
be
they
noted
both
that
should have
Lizzie is
moved
not
on, bro.
mentally well, and I think that comes off quite apparent. But at the same time, that does not excuse the actions of Lizzie.
Yeah.
Well, yes, she was wronged and horrible things were done and
Guys, I
said
think
to her.
I think I bruised my foot at the fucking... so bad. Yeah, I bruised the shit out of it.
Excuse a lot of her actions after that point. A lot of other videos on Emmy Jones on YouTube cover a lot of Lizzie's stuff and go far more in depth in the drama between these two than we will be today. But they were almost made in cooperation with Lizzie, who isn't the most reputable source. She would even reach out to me to help me with this video, but naturally I wouldn't respond, as this is meant to be an objective, unbiased look into Emmy Jones's fall. So this is the only time we will be talking about Lizzie and her relationship with Emmy in this video. But
Okay.
Emmy was doing great. Her songs were blowing up. She was truly becoming one of the biggest figures in the community. She got a spot on the
Nah,
Sonic
bro,
Central
I don't
YouTube
like her.
channel. A middle
I don't like her. I don't like her, man. Like, I'm sorry for her at the same time, but like, I don't like her. What kind of person like makes a comment like that and being like, first of all, I don't even like it when people air out something like being blocked or shit like that. You know what I mean? I think that's an A and B situation. If you actually have an issue with somebody blocking you, there's probably other ways to reach out to them. You don't need to fucking air that shit out for where not only your audience can see it and their audience can see it, but you're also airing it out for other people that don't know who the fuck you both are and I'm like, which side do I pick? You know what I mean? So it's already fucked up. And then for you to make a comment like that as well, and be like, I'm pretty and that's why I'm getting attention. She just wants attention because she beats cancer. That's fucking crazy. No, nah, I could give a fuck, bro. I could give a fuck.
Sonic that Jaw Collective.
You're not supposed to kick weights, Annie. It doesn't increase your kicking strength. No, I think it was like I run on the treadmill, chat. I run on the treadmill and I run on the incline. So I think I might have like twisted my foot at some point.
Consists of some pretty
And I
big
wasn't
name
paying
content
attention.
creators around that time. Something else that happened is that she became the Sonic community's most eligible bachelorette. I'm sure you all have been waiting for it. Emmy is most known for sleeping with former Sonic voice actor
What?
Something else that happened is that she became the Sonic community's most eligible bachelorette. I'm sure you all have been waiting for it. Emmy is most known for sleeping with former Sonic voice actor Ryan Drummond. A little
She slept with my boy Shadow. No! No! She slept with Shadow? No!
background background on Ryan, he was Sonic's first video game voice actor, starting in 1998 with Sonic Adventure, all the way up until 2004 with Sega Superstars. By this point, he was already over 10 years removed from his tenure as Sonic the Hedgehog, and despite being very young but still around the scene at that time, I can tell you he wasn't incredibly involved with the fan base just yet. Not until 2020 did you see these former voice actors popping out in conventions, doing signings and interviews, so them not only having a relationship, but a relationship this intimate was definitely a novelty at the time. Outside of the fact of a former official Sonic voice sleeping with a fan, the biggest controversy that arose from this is that a lot of people put this under the category of an affair. At the time, Ryan Drummond was indeed married to his wife, with his wife not filing for divorce until 2018 and it being finalized in 2019. In 2016, Emmy Jones claims that they were simply separated. When you and your partner fully agree to separate from each other and that your marriage is essentially finished outside of court, it does not fall under the guise of cheating. You both have mutually agreed to go your separate ways, but due to Ryan and his wife having multiple children, this made the divorce more complicated, which made
I don't know. That's still bad. She's a homewrecker. I'm sorry, bro. I don't know, bro. If you've completely not pulled away from your partner, in my mind, you are still seeing your partner. You know what I mean? Because at some point, things can change later down the road. You know what I mean? So it's like, if you have not fully left your partner, if your partner is not like out of sight, out of mind type shit, you are still seeing your partner. And I want nothing to do with that. No, I'm chill. I'm chill. If you are still in contact with your partner, I don't want it. I'm tired of people like this, bro. I'm tired of people like this, man. I'm so tired. Sorry, Chad. I'm thinking from experience. Always,
complicated, which made it take more time, and notoriously, divorces that include children
so annoying,
extend the process exponentially. As a child of divorce myself,
I feel like everybody needs to have that mentality. You know what I mean? That way, it doesn't get dirty on your end as well.
From each other, and that your marriage is
like, oh fuck, but you told me.
It does not fall under the guise of cheating. You both have mutually agreed to go your separate ways, but due to Ryan and his wife having multiple children, this made the divorce more complicated, which made it take more time, and notoriously, divorces that include children extend the process exponentially. As a child of divorce myself, I can attest to this. But according to multiple sources who were close to Emmy and Ryan at the time, not only did the relationship feel very affair-like, but it was also not what it was made out to be. In an interview with Mr. Enter in 2025, Emmy states that her and Ryan simply dated for around half of a year in 2016, and separated due to location purposes, specifying that he was in the Bay Area and she was in Los Angeles. Remember these dates. If you type in Emmy Jones GoFundMe into Google, and trust me, we will be talking about all of these and many more money-making ventures very soon. She has a GoFundMe set up for her to move. But when
I'm sorry, is she a voice actor for Tails? Has she always been a voice actor for Tails?
This fundraiser created? Well, it was created in September of 2018, a whole 2 years after Emmy initially stated that her and Ryan got together, and these locations aren't adding up because Emmy lived in Ohio. Something you will discover about Emmy throughout the rest of this video is that she not only lies a lot, but about the smallest thing that I don't even feel like you would need to lie about. And I'm led to believe that she is lying to save face and protect her ego, because her and Ryan were never really an official couple, more of a situationship, if you will. He did not give Emmy any straight commitment, and would just simply
No, she lied.
more of a situationship, if you will. He did not give Emmy any straight commitment and would just simply fly her out to random cities in California where he was performing at the time. They would hang out in hotels, have sex, and that would really be it. This all tracks because on Emmy's burner account where she detailed have sex, and that would really be it. This all tracks.
I miss him so much, guys. Guys, I got fucked by Sonic.
Because on Emmy's
the voice was used.
Account where she detailed her time.
Oh, ew, bro. Ew. Oh, no. Ew. Oh, no. What the fuck is wrong with her? Yo, she's crazy.
Have sex, and that would really be it. This all tracks.
Yikes. What do I tweet on my ult account? Hold on. Now she's got me looking at my ult account. Hold on. A friend to all is a friend to none. It feels like I'm on my period without being on my period.
because on Emmy's burner account were in hotels, have sex, and that would really be it. This all tracks because on Emmy's burner account where she detailed her time with Ryan, she would talk about going to see his show.
Famous.
Emmy by
in my
no
heart.
means was living
I'm
in
famous
California
in the shower whenever I do my
2016
concert.
when the relationship was occurring, which was only described as occurring for around a few months before Ryan initiated ending things and they both mutually agreed to go their separate ways. So her saying distance was the issue is not just
I'm
half,
famous in
but
the
maybe
shower
even
when I
just
do a
third
concert,
true.
bro.
Distance was a problem.
In my
But
head,
also
I'm
she was
famous
living in
whenever I take a
Ohio,
shower.
and
I'm like,
also they were
and
never
I'm singing
really
the
a
songs that are
defined
playing on my
couple.
phone.
If this relationship was not an affair, there was nothing necessarily weird or immoral here. This is just two adults trying to figure their way around a weird, complicated relationship. I kind of
Makes
hate that
sense.
this is the #1 thing people talk about when it comes to Emmy Jones because it's usually just boiled down to how
Yeah, I mean, okay, yeah, you can hate it that people talk about it, but she goes on her alt account to fucking tweet about it. So, like, how can you fucking hate it? Like, oh, I'm so upset that, like, this is, like, the only thing that people talk about when she's brought up. Bro, she literally asked for the fucking attention. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Boo, boo. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That is literally what she did by tweeting this shit. She asked for the fucking attention. I'm sorry, but she knew what she was doing. And that's another point to being a woman hater.
and things, and they both mutually agreed to go their separate ways. So her saying distance was the issue is not just half, but maybe even
And that
just
just adds one more tally,
Distance was a
apparently.
problem, but also she was living in Ohio, and also they were never really a defined couple. If this relationship was not an affair, there is nothing necessarily weird or immoral here. This is just two adults trying to figure their way around a weird, complicated relationship. I kind of hate that this is the #1.
How many points you got on that? I think I got like 100.
Jones, because it's usually just boiled down to haha, Sonic's former voice actor slept with a fan voice actor who's like 20 years younger than him. And also, you know, they use the voice. Only God knows why somebody would be attracted to the sound of Sonic the Hedgehog while getting their back blown out. But the last thing we do on this channel is kink shame. So if that's what she's into, that's what she's into. At surface level,
That's crazy though. It's the fact that she tweeted it out. Listen, no one would have give a fuck that she slept with him if she didn't tweet it out, bro. You know what I mean? That's what makes it weird, is that she publicly aired it. You know what I mean? And again, when people do shit like that, they're asking for some sort of attention, man. Holy fuck, bro.
and also, you know, they use the voice. Only God knows why
It would have never been clowned on. It would have never been brought up constantly if she just shut the fuck up.
would be attracted to the sound of Sonic the Hedgehog while getting their back blown out. But the last thing we do on this channel is kink shame. So if that's what she's into, that's what she's into. At surface level to a normal person brain, this is really just two people having sex. If this truly was an affair and Ryan and his wife were separated, and frequently whenever this comes up, this is used as a smokescreen that covers up bigger controversy that comes later down the line with Emmy Jones. But unfortunately for us, her love life isn't done just yet. Once when her and Ryan separated, she must have gotten really into voice acting. Around this time, Emmy was becoming just as well known for her Tails impersonation as she was for her song covers. People doing Sonic voices is nothing new, as there were a lot of prominent people doing voices of characters around this time in different fan projects. One of those people
I can
was
do
named
Shadow,
Julia
guys.
Fox. They were set to appear in
do
Sonic the
Shadow.
Wrath of Nazo as Tails, until
fuck.
they were replaced by also
Wait, what does Shadow say? Maria! Maria!
Jones. Here in Sonic the Wrath of Nazo as Tails.
Maria!
They were replaced by also Emmy Jones. This is because at the time,
Shadow
Spirit
hasn't
the voice
hit
actor
puberty
for
yet,
Sonic
so
in
bear with me,
Sonic
okay?
Wrath of Nazo, and Emmy were having a situation
Maria!
of sorts. Their relationship was incredibly behind the scenes and not incredibly well defined, but it is largely believed that Emmy was using her position with Spirit of the Blue to replace the Blue-Eyed Fox as Tails in Wrath of Nazo and taking a job away from a veteran Tails fan voice actress. Her intimate relationship with Spirit of the Blue isn't necessarily the story here. It's her using this relationship as a way for her to get a leg up in the community and purposefully taking food off the plates of other people. But to be fair to Emmy, she was a very good Tails voice impersonator, and this helped her with a lot of connections with a lot of popular Sonic VAs, including Ryan Drummond, Pete Capella. You might know him from voicing Silver in Sonic 06.
It's no
You
use!
can see her hanging out with him while he's playing his guitar. She would become involved romantically with other community figures, whether it be proper relationships, hookups, dating, situationships, or simply leading them on, sometimes for the purpose of simply liking somebody exciting and wanting to see where it goes, or for other ulterior motives. We're
Wow.
not going to speculate on any of these people unless it's public knowledge or I have gotten confirmation from sources. We're not going to speculate if Emmy Jones
Damn, she
got
did all
with
that.
Jason Griffith's dad, but somebody we know that she flirted with, or Jones. It's public knowledge, or I have gotten confirmation from sources. We're not going to speculate if Emmy Jones got with Jason Griffith's dad, but somebody we know that she flirted with, or rather led on, was the member of the website and organization Sonic Retro. I will not be specifying this person for privacy reasons, as you'll come to see in future controversies that we'll get into. Harassment from Emmy and her audience plays
I'd like to be a voice actor someday, bro. I feel like you can. I feel like you can. You just gotta do your own shit. You just gotta do your own shit. Don't like, and also lie. Say that you are a voice actor. Just go ahead and say it. You know what I mean? Just say that you're a voice actor. Do some like little, it's really hard field actually. Dude, just do some like little, no, you don't gotta like, I've already tried. You know what I think, Slash? I just think that you're not trying hard enough. But don't lie like Alex Lee. Oh yeah, don't lie like him. Don't lie like that, man. Don't tell your manager that you have a bomb strapped to your chest. Okay, don't do that. Don't do that. Dude, you can have like, I feel like if you want to like be a voice actor, but you feel like it's like a hard field to get into, bro, you could do like comic dubs still. That's still a thing. You could do comic dubs or like little dubs of like photos or stuff like that. You know what I mean? That's nothing bad. I feel like everybody has the opportunity, man.
Big role and is obviously an awful thing to do.
I want to get
And the
back
last
into
thing I
like
want
dubbing
to
like
do
those
is
funny
incite
photos that I always find on Instagram.
more harassment from those people. So when something is not entirely public
It's been so
knowledge, please
long.
understand when I
It's
choose
been
to
ages,
exclude their
Annie.
names. This is a part of the story where I'm gonna need you guys to hold on to your seatbelts and maybe
Okay.
grab a snack.
Okay.
Sonic Retro is a very mysterious but also very powerful organization in the Sonic community. Despite being a fan site, they hold a lot of power within the fan base based off of how long they've been around. People a part of Sonic Retro have been a part of the fan base since the 90s era. They are Sonic fan veterans and are very possessive over the community and franchise. This has led to great opportunity for members of Sonic Retro, including Sergio Monaligre, who would go on to become the social media coordinator for Sonic the Hedgehog, once again under Aaron Weber. Now, why am I talking about this random Sonic fan site outside of the fact that Emmy associated with one of their members? One day, Emmy was given the script for an upcoming Sonic game by the name of Sonic Forces by none other than this unnamed Sonic Retro member. How he retrieved this or got his hands on it, we're not entirely sure. There's been speculation that his Sonic Retro associate who worked at Sega at the time got him this, but once again, we're not here to speculate. What we do know is that Emmy would go on to Discord later that night and would go on to leak this script. For those around the Sonic community at the time, you would remember Sonic Forces script being leaked. And yes, it was from none other than Emmy herself. This was a draft from 2016 with notes given from somebody with the initials of AW. Somebody around that time that shared those same initials was Aaron Weber, someone that Emmy recently became very close to, thanks to her connections with the aforementioned Matt Mannheimer of Tales channel and Sonic Retro members. And not only did Emmy leak this script, she leaked this script from Weber's apartment. And no, not just because they were friends, Emmy and Aaron were seeing each other at the
Oh, she set that boy up. Ain't no way. She set him up, bro. Ain't no way.
time. I'm gonna fire over an allegedly here for legal purposes, but as you're seeing on screen right now, I have multiple testimonies from people who were close to Emmy and Aaron at the time. Now, this is one of the most well-known secrets behind the scenes in the Sonic community, amongst larger influencers. It just hasn't come out because I don't feel like there's been any reason to, but when you're making an expose on Emmy Jones, now kind of feels like the right time. Many people wonder why Emmy was given so many opportunities with Sega, how she became so closely associated with the company. This is a large reason why. Her having a sexual relationship with essentially the head honcho of the Sonic brand in America around this time allowed her to get her quote-unquote foot in the door and make a lot of connections with people at Sega. She did an entire promo video for Monopoly Gamer Sonic Edition, something really no Sonic creators were doing around that time. Being given opportunity by Sega, it was really rare, excluding being given positions at the company. At this point, Emmy wasn't just a rising star in the Sonic influencer scene, she was one of the biggest faces. A lot of that power was acquired through interesting means, but in this point in history in the late 2010s, entering the early 2020s, Emmy was now one of the most powerful figures in the entire community. And how would she use her power? Well, unfortunately, it's all downhill from here. Throughout Emmy's time in the community, she's had many issues, whether that be her health, her needing to move, her mom needing a dog, but how do we usually know about that? Her seeking financial help through her audience. Now, don't get me wrong, when you have nowhere to turn to and you have a platform, you might as well use it to get help. But there's a difference between using your platform and abusing the people who have given it to you. To an unhealthy and unusual degree, Emmy asks for a lot of money from her audience quite frequently. From 3 GoFundMes initially asking for a medical dog for her mom, with a goal of $8,000 in donations, firstly wishing nothing but the best for her mom, but she was able to get a service dog regardless, to the aforementioned GoFundMe asking for $5,000 to help her move to Los Angeles, and most recently a GoFundMe to help her fight her MCAS and eating disorder, with a goal of $17,000. Throughout the years of her doing this, people have been more than willing to help, but there are a lot of people who have noticed that she is doing things that somebody who is struggling with finances doesn't typically do, such as frequently going to Disneyland, and 2 trips to Japan.
Oh no, bro. Oh no, bro.
Going to a bunch of different events and trips, all of these are luxuries. It almost feels like Emmy and her partner are able to meet their financial means, but without the support of her fan base, they might not be able to live as comfortably as they like, which by no means is the job of the innocent people around the country who simply enjoy your content to fund. It doesn't stop though at her GoFundMes and the misuse of her fans' generosity, allegedly asking for $5,000 for an album release party on Ko-Fi, or plugging an Amazon wishlist for people to simply buy her things. Now yes, this was during COVID time, so a lot of you might be saying, oh, she might have been asking for essentials. Well, you would be correct, because she got Sonic Legos and toys. Oh, and
as essentials? Wait, essentials is like toothbrushes, clothes, underwear, you know, undergarments, toilet paper, you know, like mandatory self-care things. Sonic self-care. It's like everything needed to live. Yeah.
you would be correct, because she got
what?
Sonic Legos and toys.
And gamer subs tubs.
Frequently plugging her Ko-Fi, asking for just random donations on a whim, such as funding migraine glasses. There's a term for this.
Migraine glasses.
E-begging. Emmy is an e-beggar. A lot of people, including big figures in this community, have problems, go through things, have health issues.
Hold on, give me 1 second. Slash! Thank you for the 3 gifted. Thank you. Thank you. Migraine glasses. I didn't even know was a thing. I didn't even know that was a thing, guys. Hey. Okay, hold on. I have to. Biology. Chat. Since we're here, it is time I say something. It's time I say something, guys. Thank you guys so much for constantly using Dumpy. I said in the Discord server, and I'll say it again live. Thank you guys so much for constantly using code Dumpy. You've given me opportunities that I would never see myself ever have. I'm very blessed with not only my community, but also gamer subs as well, for being very kind to allow me on their team and have a very small opportunity for things that I get to do. I have not only been able to afford a really nice looking model that I will dearly love, and an artist that loves working with me. I'm able to afford to help my family out whenever I can. So thank you guys. I do appreciate it. I want to say thank you because I've, been able to help my parents out a bunch. And low-key, gamer subs came in the clutch so much. And I was like, yo, low-key, it wouldn't have happened if it weren't for chat in my community. Slash! Thank you for the gift! Thank you. I definitely do appreciate it. I appreciate it a bunch, guys. I appreciate it a bunch. Thank you, guys. Thank you, chat. Thank you for always using code Dumpy. It definitely is something I'm very thankful for. I could give a fuck if I had a cup or not. I was super thankful. Slash! Thank you for the gift. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. You've helped us more than we help you. I think this is a bunch of baloney because you guys have helped me a lot. I would never think that I would be in this position. To be able to help my parents out in a way, and I really do appreciate it, and it makes me very blessed to not only help my parents but help my friends around me as well, because it's nice, and I just am very thankful, guys. I'm just very thankful.
Including my...
I'm just super thankful. Thank you, guys. Thank you for this opportunity. Thank you. Thank you for using code Dumpy. This is not a sponsor. I just wanted to mention it because, you know, I'm gonna be gone for a week. That's a long time. That's a long time for us.
But in my time in this fan base, I have not seen somebody ask their community so much for financial backing for the smallest, most...
I feel like you don't realize how much you actually do for us as a community. You deserve it a lot. Guys, I don't do a lot. I just sit here. And I smile. I'm like... When you're leaving? I don't want to go. I will be streaming at TwitchCon. I think I will do an IRL stream for those that will not be attending so that they get to see what's happening. You know what I mean? I think it'd be really nice to do an IRL stream so that you guys can watch. That'd be really nice. What is that? I think it should be next week. I think I leave next week. No, I leave in 2 weeks. I leave on the 15th. I get ready on the 15th. So I will not be going live the full week of... So starting for the 13th, all the way till I come back to... I don't know. I guess Monday. I might stream a bit on the 13th. But other than that, I have to actually lock in and get ready for TwitchCon because I'm low-key nervous. And I'm low-key scared. And low-key, when I land, I know I'm gonna throw up. So I'm very excited, but I'm very nervous at the same time.
Go through things. Have health issues, including myself.
Are you going to Japan after? No, I think I'm going to New York. I don't know. I still don't know if I am or not because... Yes, I will be gone. I think it's in November. I will be gone.
This fan base, I have
maybe. I don't know. If I'm not going to New York, then I'm going to Japan.
Not seen somebody ask their community so much for financial backing for the smallest, most minute things. Maybe it's the way I was raised, but I was never taught to ask for handouts.
That's
and
true.
I was especially not taught to take that money that generous people gave me to turn around and use it on luxury. Now, it doesn't stop there, unfortunately. It actually gets worse. Emmy Jones has a Patreon, of course, why wouldn't she? Where she is currently making over $400 a month. It was higher, of course, at one point, that she hasn't updated since August 3rd of 2024. The purpose of Patreon is to supply your fans with content, whether it be exclusive content, early access to content that will eventually become public, behind the scenes updates, what have you. But to sit there and collect hundreds of dollars from your fans and supplying them with nothing is insane. But maybe Emmy doesn't view it that way because they are still gaining access to something. Her Discord. Emmy Jones has a Discord server where she is active in, but this isn't your typical server where fans of someone's content can come together to meet new people, bond, communicate, share interests. No, this is very close to, and I'm really trying not to be hyperbolic, a cult, where Emmy Jones is the queen and her little Patreon minions will do what she wants.
I'm a bit of a sour subject to bring attention to, but there's a video that has been live for last year, and Monty had chosen to ignore it, to not give it attention to the group of people. or stalking my social media. Oh my god, she's still talking about Lizzie. For context, the team behind the video is unfortunately known problematic people such as Lizzie. I feel like she's the stalker, chat. I'm not gonna lie.
Whether that be supplying her with a free Nintendo Switch 2, because. Or how about when she gave out Valentine's Day cards that were $15 each? Naturally, she started doing this little money-making scheme around February, consistently fear-baiting her fans into her taking a loss on these cards if they don't sell enough, so people bought multiple, just for months and months and months to go by until late July of that year, where she makes an announcement tossing all the blame onto her partner that he forgot to ship them. And I guess he must have forgot again, because people didn't start receiving their cards until the following year of 2025. A whole year for people to receive Valentine's Day cards. Even friends of hers, get this, were supporting her financially, giving her close to $1,000, helping her pay for trips, meals, all of this. $10 to $25 tarot readings? Here she is fear-baiting a fan that anonymously came forward to me about how she needs money because her power is about to be shut off. He sent her money numerous times through PayPal, and when her attempt at a $450 cash out didn't work, she simply tried to just get off with a 30. This is not normal behavior. I don't care what way.
She was DMing fans for money? What the fuck? Here I am thinking that telling my community to use code Dumpy is such a scummy thing to do. Oh my fucking god.
That you try to paint this is clear financial manipulation of her audience and makes her GoFundMe's all that more sketchy. Remember though, money isn't all that matters to Emmy. It's also power. Her Discord has been turned into a battleground, a dictatorship, where you must, as a fan of her, build up the social credit to be one of her favorites, and if you don't, you're simply treated as lesser. A big part of this is being as hateful as she is. Emmy, at her core, does not like
Letting you know, pal, we are reacting. Lock in.
The community that she is a part of and profiting off of. More specifically, the larger influencers and creators that
Can I borrow 20?
shares the scene with. It's been said that she had a whole entire hate campaign against Sam Procrastinate, where none of her audience would be able to say anything positive about the man or his content. Why is this? Because he did not personally come out and use his platform to publicly defend Emmy during one of her controversies. Which, let me remind you guys, is not the job of Sam or any content creator to do when somebody gets into a scuffle. She also has specific vendettas against Fidel of Games Cage and Tails channel, and for those who are not aware, hasn't been run by Matt Mannheimer in around 10 years at this point. And I swear that this is not the purpose of me making this video, but shocker, she really doesn't like me.
If you don't give me $500, I will die tomorrow, versus please use my code if you buy. Yeah, that's, I mean, I still feel guilty whenever I, you know, tell people to use my code. It sounds like I'm like shoving it down people's throats in my opinion, but oh my god, now that when I say it out loud, I'm just like, wow, I guess I shouldn't feel so bad
anymore. Go to the staff of Sonic Revolution.
Wow, I shouldn't feel so bad anymore. What the fuck?
2023. And once when that happened and caused issues, she of course shifted all of the blame onto her friends. Sound familiar? Keep in mind, up to this point, we never interacted. Ever. This woman is a whole 10 years my senior. I don't know why she cared so much I was there. I'm sure there were many people at Sonic Revolution who saw me and were like, oh, I don't like.
It just sounds like she's upset that she's not getting the attention that she wants. You know what I mean? And other words. Can I say it? Can I say the word? She sounds like a fucking pick me. Holy shit. Ah! I feel like I can say it. Oh my god. She sounds like a fucking pick me, bro. Holy shit. And all it took was that one comment towards Lizzie for me to think like that. Holy shit!
Speed supersonic, and then went about their business like a normal person. And I'm sure there are many people on the internet right now who see content creators like Sam or Fidel or myself, and they do not enjoy us, our personality, or our content. But you know what they do? They go about their business and do their own thing and enjoy what they enjoy. They do not create and encourage hate campaigns against us. They do not have us physically removed from events.
Another person added to the Annie is a woman hater compilation. Oh, no one's ever gonna believe me whenever I say I actually don't hate women. They're like, yeah, you do. And they're gonna pull up like a compilation that some fan made. And it's gonna be like all of like my reacts where I'm just like hating women. Or it's gonna be like the subtle, where I'm not even saying anything, but they can like see my fucking like VTuber's expression. I'm just like, ugh.
It's where no trouble is being caused at. Emmy actively makes the lives of us creators worse in this community, all because she's an incredibly angry and vengeful person, and only has become more so over time. It has been reported by a former friend of hers that she would simply sit in her apartment and hate watch other creators' videos who she personally didn't like. It made every
What? When I don't like someone or I have a fallout with them and they're a creator, I don't interact with them. I make it my mission that I don't see them anymore. Why are you hate watching? That is crazy. Yeah, bro. Oh my god. She would fit right in with VTubers. Holy shit. Hold on. I gotta go use the restroom.
more so over time. She's an incredibly angry and vengeful person, and only has become more so over time. It has been reported by a former friend of hers that she would
I'm a fool. I was talking this entire time. Whatever, brah.
in this community, all because she's an incredibly angry and vengeful person, and only has become more so over time. It has been reported by a former friend of hers that she would simply sit in her apartment and hate watch other creators' videos who she personally didn't like. It made everybody incredibly uncomfortable and really opened the eyes to who Emmy was becoming. I needed to get a lot of that stuff out of the way because this next segment of the video is going to get a lot more serious because we're going to be diving into some very serious topics. So I'm going to put up a trigger warning for the following: grooming,
oh shit,
sexual assault, harassment, and rape. If any of you guys have heard this before, this is music by the band Hyper Potions. One half of Hyper Potions was a man by the name of Kevin Valleko. They befriended Aaron Weber and were able to start working on basically every upcoming Sonic project they had in the works. From Sonic Boom Fire and Ice, Sonic Mania, even doing a performance at the 25th anniversary party. They were very well connected in the Sonic scene and started to make a name for themselves. Emmy naturally became very close with these people, and also gained a relationship with the wife of Kevin, Evelyn Varela. When Evelyn and Kevin met, he was 24, and she was 15.
They got married?
As the term wife suggests, they would eventually get married and have a very abusive relationship, both verbally, physically. Her document, which will be linked below, was not an easy
fucking
read.
god.
However, thankfully, around the pandemic, they were able to get divorced, with her staying out in Los Angeles and him going back home to Pennsylvania. Like Kevin, Evelyn was also a musician, and around that time was working on a project. What project was that? Sonic and Tails R. Sonic and Tails R is a radio drama created by Emmy Jones that is mainly known for starring some very big names in the Sonic voice acting scene, such as Ryan Drummond as Sonic, Jason Griffith as Shadow, Mike Pollock as Dr. Robotnik, which there was drama about a pay discrepancy, but that quickly got resolved, so we'll be breezing over that. The first episode was even featured on the Sonic the Hedgehog official YouTube channel's fan spotlight page. Emmy was at least somewhat aware of the issues that Evelyn and Kevin were having, even being the person to tell Evelyn to speak out. But when Evelyn would eventually resign from working on Sonic and Tails R, she would go on to be replaced by Kevin, her groomer, her abuser, the worst thing that really ever happened to her, all hidden under his Push Pause moniker. When Evelyn eventually spoke out, Emmy would too, claiming she didn't know the extensive history behind their relationship. And I'm sorry, I find that very hard to believe.
Yeah, I find that hard to believe too. What the fuck? You're the one that pushed your friend that come out about like what they did.
You're telling me that this couple, who you were closely associated with, the topic of their ages and age gap never came up. An age gap, which, let me remind you, is 10 years difference. And regardless of when Emmy and Evelyn met, she would have been significantly younger than Kevin, not just in number, but by appearance. I would think it's weird if my fellow 22-year-old friend decided to date an 18-year-old girl fresh out of high school, let alone someone significantly older than that, dating somebody that young. Emmy deflects when Evelyn said that she needed to stick up for herself in relation to Kevin going back home to Pennsylvania and Evelyn staying in LA. But even if you didn't have the gritty details of their marriage and why it was ending, you're telling me that you didn't know anything that Kevin had done? When you were talking with Evelyn in a simple discussion of life, two friends confiding in each other, no red flags were raised about Kevin or his character. But regardless of that, why would you think it is okay or moral to replace the person who is leaving your project with their ex, who they are currently separating from and having a very messy situation? She then flat out lies in her statement, says that the composer role was not filled by Kevin, which yes, it's right here. It's in the credits. She then gets mad at the internet for condemning her for her wrongdoings in this situation and ends it off by saying that she hopes that Kevin can get the help that he needs. Help he needs? He groomed a 15-year-old and then went on to abuse, manipulate, and sexually assault her in their marriage. Why would you wish him well? Wish him to hell. And what makes this even more sad is that this is not the only example of Emmy being negligent in protecting the abusers and predators that are in her life that she gives jobs.
Yeah, bro. I mean, I feel like it's rude to say, but I feel like, I don't know, bro. I feel like that this bitch right here is a pick me, bro, because there's no way that I can't imagine a scenario where I just can't get my head around it. You know what I mean? I can't understand. You don't want to come off as victim blaming. No, bro, I 100% stand on the idea that Emmy's a pick me. But I guess like what I'm saying is like I just can't imagine like a scenario of like where I'm defending, knowing the information of the abuser and I'm defending the abuser. You know what I mean? And it's like I can't imagine what it would feel like to be in her shoes. You know what I mean? I mean, yeah, I can in a sense, but not necessarily of this badly. And then to be replaced by your abuser. Yeah, I can't imagine that. No, that fucking probably stung. And I don't like Emmy, bro. I don't know her. This is my first time ever seeing her, and I don't like her. The minute she said something about Lizzie, I don't know Lizzie too, either way. But to get off your fucking high horse, to sit there and say like, oh yeah, well, I'm prettier, so that's why I have the attention. You only want attention because you were battling cancer. That is a crazy fucking statement. Holy shit, dude. I don't like her, bro. I don't fucking like her, man. I don't.
And associates with.
Clearly she likes attention.
Is often hailed as Emmy Jones's project, but if you look at the credits, she is the executive producer, the voice of Tails, and the co-voice director. Now, why is she the co-voice director? Because there's someone else that's involved with the project far more than she is. His name is Dorian Nelson. He is the producer of Sonic and Tails R, the co-voice director, the staff writer, the staff sound designer, and he did the end credits animation. These two are obviously very close. In 2017, there was a convention named Sonic and Sega Fan Jam, which has since been rebranded to Sonic Expo Atlanta. Emmy and Dorian attended this event along with a bunch of friends, including somebody by the name of Cess. Emmy and Cess became friends when Cess was a teenager in high school. They went on vacations, Emmy would commission Cess to do art for her, and this would all essentially culminate in them attending the convention together. Unfortunately, right before the convention, her and her boyfriend broke up, and a lot of their time before the convention actually started was Emmy and Dorian comforting Cess. Cess would end up staying in a hotel room with Emmy and her friends, which was a different hotel from what the staff was staying in. Emmy would frequently go off and do her own thing, which was fine with Cess, so she was spending a lot of time with Dorian, and almost looking up to him like a big brother. They would help set up the convention and then eventually go to a Denny's for food, but wouldn't leave until around 4 to 5 in the morning. It was a little too late to go to her hotel with Emmy, so she had to stay at the staff hotel where pretty much everyone was sharing a bed, where she would end up sharing a bed with Dorian. What would happen next, though, was not consensual. At one point in the night, she felt his arm around her, and then at another point during the night woke up to him spooning her. She turned around to release his grip, only to see him wide awake. He would laugh, kiss her on the face, and say, "I really like you, Cessy," while running his hand through her hair. While Cess does not qualify this as sexual assault, this by definition is sexual harassment.
What the
Emmy
fuck?
would be made aware of this, going on to chew out Dorian and condemn his actions, and Sess would go on to voice to Dorian how this deeply made her uncomfortable, and they were able to continue some form of a relationship, remaining friendly,
bro.
but by no means being as close or talkative as they used to. Fast forward years later, Emmy would go on to make music with someone by the name of Hunted P. If you guys are not familiar with Hunted P, he did the infamous
You know me, the fighting freak Knuckles, and we're at Pumpkin Hill. You ready?
Yeah, that guy. Long story short, they would have a very weird working relationship. He was incredibly creepy, harassed her. None of that stuff was cool whatsoever. Dorian Nelson, though, who at the time was working on Sonic and Tails R with her, went on to write a statement for 100p and then retweet it. This was essentially the straw that broke the camel's back for Sess, and she completely cut off Dorian. This would all soon reach a breaking point, however. In 2022, Sonic Fan Jam was still running, and Sess was intending to attend. But shortly after she finalized her attendance, Emmy would announce that there would be a Sonic and Tails R panel, which Dorian Nelson would be attending. With her past experience with him and this obviously being a triggering person in general for her, this made her uncomfortable naturally and was brought to the attention of Sonic and Sega Fan Jam, who was already privy to the history between Sess and Dorian. They would eventually work something out, but the head of Sonic and Sega Fan Jam wanted to speak to Emmy and Dorian and instructed Sess not to speak to them until they did. Time would go by with no response from Emmy, so Sess reached out to her, where she was infuriated with Sess, saying that Sess was causing problems with her health and trying to ruin her panel with Dorian, as well as putting the Sonic and Sega Fan Jam staff in a horrible position. But the head of the convention saying that Sess was blackmailing them with the threat of releasing a statement on social media if they didn't ban Dorian. This is obviously not true. She was simply looking out for her own comfortability being around somebody who is traumatizing for her, but Emmy was not having any of it. She insisted that Sess get in a call with her and Dorian, but obviously—
Oh my god, what the fuck is wrong with this bitch, bro?
this did not make Sess comfortable. I don't know, maybe have some empathy and understanding that your friend who was violated in her sleep maybe doesn't want to get on a phone call with someone who clearly traumatized her. After a few days, Emmy would go on to cancel her Sonic and Tails R panel after Dorian voluntarily stepped down. Sess was trying to make good with Emmy, apologizing as her intention was to never get her Sonic and Tails R panel ruined, but Emmy stayed quiet, didn't say anything to Sess. After all of this, Emmy and Sess would attend Sonic and Sega Fan Jam, but they would keep their separate ways. 2 days after returning from that event though, Dorian would publish a doc about how he had been falsely accused of sexual assault for years, with Emmy going on to retweet it and endorse it. Keep in mind, Sess never said that she was sexually assaulted, but she was harassed. And I think we can assume that Dorian is aware of his actions, and that what he did that night was not okay, and has to live with that guilty conscience. Remember, initially when this happened, Emmy was on Sess's side and called out Dorian, but of course, as we're aware by history, she would go on to create an entire radio drama with the man, and then later, when she felt personally slighted, went on to deny this victim's experience and call her out in a public forum, bringing incredibly personal things to light that the public did not need to know about. Emmy would of course take to Twitter to make her own call-out post of Sess, where she accused her of blackmailing Fan Jam, and how Sess coming out about Dorian somehow impacted Emmy's health significantly. This led to months of harassment from Emmy and Dorian's audiences, until months later when Sess was able to publish her own doc, which the edited version of that doc will be linked below. That version was ultimately created after Emmy and her decided to make peace due to the harassment both parties were receiving, but if you're curious about the contents of the original doc, I'm sure there are links floating around out there somewhere, and it's also been reported on numerous times in different YouTube videos and forums. This should have been a moment in time where Emmy was able to be examined by the community at a deeper level, seen for the true person that she was. A hateful woman who lived an angry life, who disregarded the people in her life that cared about her, because what did it threaten? Her power, her money, the only things that really matter to her. But it was swiftly brushed under the rug because only a few days after Sess's doc, the news about her and Ryan Drummond finally became public. A story that would remind you if there was no affair, there's no wrongdoing here. It is simply two people having sex, no matter how weird a sonic voice being used during it might be. Does that maybe raise a few red flags about her potentially being interested in the relationship between a canonically 15-year-old blue hedgehog and an 8-year-old yellow fox? Yeah, maybe, and that would be incredibly fucking weird. But we honestly have more important things to talk about. The thing between Emmy and Ryan is, as of today, there was no wrongdoing by Emmy. But I think Emmy is smart enough to know that there are many—
Nah, dude, there was wrongdoing by it, bro. I feel like you shouldn't be tweeting about shit like that, man. Oh my god. I don't know, maybe that's just me, but I like the idea that, like, my sex life would be private, you know what I mean? Clearly she wants the attention, bro. That's wrong. That's so fucked up.
Instances in her history in this community where she has done plenty of wrongdoing, and she's been able to cover up these scandals with another scandal that is bright and colorful and exciting to the general audience, but is essentially just nothing but fluff at its core. Now, why am I bringing these two specific stories up at the tail end of this video? These are two women in this story that were traumatized.
Because she's a woman hater, bro. She's an actual woman hater.
By either sexual assault, sexual harassment, something that every woman that deals with these things, if they wish, should be able to publicize and talk about. Also, if they want to keep it private, they should be allowed to keep it private. It is their story, it is their experience, and it should not be denied. Both of these instances are objective things that happened. The people involved who did these wrongdoings have admitted that they've happened. To turn around in one instance and exonerate yourself of any wrongdoing or negligence in relation to a young woman who was taken advantage of by a much older man, and that is putting it very nicely, and then continue to go on to deny your personal friend's sexual harassment experience which you had knowledge to. These two stories are some of the most disgusting things that have been public knowledge in the Sonic community, and it has been completely brushed under the rug. Now, I want to state this. Emmy is not the predator or abuser in this situation. The brunt of the backlash in these two situations should go on to Kevin and Dorian. But like I stated in a lot of the portions of this video, this is an Emmy Jones expose, and she did support, defend, platform, and protect dangerous people associated with her projects, and the Sonic community at large, a space with plenty of children and women. And this transitions us perfectly in how we got here in the first place. Let's rewind all the way back to 2012.
What?
Remember this little relationship right here? Well, now you do. Well, for over a decade, we had no idea that this relationship existed at all, until it was brought to light in 2025 by somebody anonymous. This anonymous person is accusing Saberspark of rape on not just one, but two occasions at two My Little Pony conventions, one being Canterlot Gardens and the other being Equestria LA. And with this being a first-hand recounting, yes, this anonymous person is Emmy Jones. In the testimony, it's almost described like they had zero intention of having a sexual relationship leading up to that convention, with him using the power dynamic of her being a freshly 18-year-old fan and him being some big popular online influencer. Keep in mind, he had 20 to 25,000 subscribers at the time, much different from the 2 million he has nowadays. She makes their first encounter out to be entirely unconsensual, which would essentially make this rape. It's painted as if this came out of nowhere, despite there being instances in her own testimony where she describes having a crush on Saberspark, as well as him being aware of this. She would then go on to detail her next encounter, where all of the cracks begin to form, recounting them being in an elevator where he forcefully shoved her against the wall and shoved his tongue down her throat. She then says they would proceed to go right back down exactly to where they were, to then go into the bathroom for oral sex. In text messages, she describes going down to a basement area where there was meeting rooms and a carpeted area. But not only did Saberspark state that this occurred in a lower gym area floor, but the hotel would go on to confirm Saberspark's recollection of the location as correct. But not just that, why would they go down, to then go back up, to then go back down again? In Emmy's original testimony, she makes this out to sound like it was the last time they ever interacted, that what happened was so horrific that she pulled back and never attempted to speak to him again. If you're paying attention, this is a very twisted, different, evil version of what we described earlier in the video when we talked about Emmy and Saber's relationship, and that's because this is exactly what it is. This is a lie. Now, obviously, after discussing two past instances of sex.
What? You gotta be shitting me. What is the point? Like, what do you gain? What do you gain out of, like... I feel like these things are something you should not lie about, man. What the fuck? Why?
sexual assault or harassment experiences, I'm not just going to blindly deny somebody saying that they were raped. But once when this was published, us not knowing that this was Emmy, Saber Spark was torn to shreds. The narrative of him being a rapist spread like wildfire.
Wow.
You can deny all you want, which is what Saber Spark did. But if you don't have evidence, you're kind of fucked.
Yeah.
So what did Saber Spark do? He sifted through old computers, multiple telephones, spending hundreds of dollars to find text logs, and he did. And it disputed everything.
Well, oh my god. Oh. Oh my god, dude.
Kind of fucked. So what did Saber Spark do? He sifted through old computers, multiple telephones, spending hundreds of dollars to find text logs, and he did. And it disputed everything Emmy said.
What? Why did you unfollow me? I want you to be honest with me. It's making my heart ache thinking that you're mad at me. The point where you unfollow me. Why couldn't you be honest with me for months? It's not like I'm obsessive over you. Girl, what? Come on now, girl. It's so hard to do it on my own thing. When you've been fooling around with my emotions, I am the bad guy for that. I'm sorry. Wow.
That doesn't sound like you immediately retreating from somebody and being so traumatized by your experience with them. What it actually sounds like is that according to her ex-boyfriend Solrak, being unfollowed on Twitter at the time was like the worst thing somebody could have done to her, and that when Saber Spark
I unfollow so many people. Oh shit, I'm scared. Oh fuck! Oh shit! That's like my number one fear, chat. I'm not gonna lie. That's my number one fear, is like being called out for unfollowing somebody. I'm low-key scared of that shit, because it's like, I don't know, hard feelings. Maybe hard feelings. But I unfollow a lot of people because I like it's the shit they say on their Twitter. I'll have it on my feed. You know what I mean? And then I'm like, okay, like this is enough. Like the first few times I get it, but if you're constantly involved like in drama or talking about drama, I don't want you near me. You know what I mean? Or if you're spewing some bullshit, get the fuck off of my feed.
This Twitter at the time was like the worst thing somebody could have done to her. And that when Saber Spark did this not one but two times, remember, somebody that she really cared about and had a sexual relationship with irked her beyond belief and would go on to hold a vendetta for years before inevitably attempting to destroy his life with false rape claims at a petty attempt for revenge. I'm confused. I'm sure you're confused. So many of us are just asking why. But I have a different question. Here's the thing, the really sad thing. Emmy Jones, not only in this testimony, but on multiple occasions, has stated that she has been the victim of sexual assault in the past. I am a person with a believe all victims mentality. I hurt for her, I feel for her, I not only empathize with her, but I sympathize with her. I obviously cannot do that with the Saber Spark story because there's objective proof she lied. And even if she might still have a very frequent track record of lying, I am still not going to deny the other experiences that she references, and I hope you guys don't do the same. The reason she claims she wanted to do this was to prove to herself that she would be able to speak up. She claims she spoke up anonymously to avoid harassment, but I think we have a lot of room to believe she did this because she's Emmy Jones, and if she were to come out with this claim, which is false, it would have lost a lot of credibility and people wouldn't have taken it nearly as seriously. Also, another part of that reason in reality is because she knew she was lying. If Emmy Jones wanted to speak up about her history with sexual assault, why didn't she talk about her actual stories? It would have been an incredibly powerful and humanizing moment for Emmy Jones if she actually talked about her experiences with sexual assault. Something that not a lot of people in this community do, getting that deep, getting that personal. Because the unfortunate reality is there are millions of people in the world and in this community who have dealt with that and continue to do so to this day. And putting that story out there and how you ultimately overcame all of that and managed to have a child and find success despite all the hurt and pain, letting those people know that they're not alone it would have been, frankly, one of the most beautiful things this fanbase ever saw. But instead, she committed one of, if not her most heinous act, lying about a man that you had an intimate relationship with who happens to be a public figure, and using that as an attempt to take everything away from him and ruin his life. All because you were slighted 12 to 13 years ago. And if Emmy truly cared about sexual assault survivors so much, why is it that on 2 separate occasions, 2 friends, 2 people who were close to her, were treated by her the way they were? One that came to you privately about their experiences, and then you went on to replace them in your fan project with their abuser. And then another friend of yours who was taken advantage of in her sleep by someone that you would go on to create an entire radio drama with, and then go on to deny her experience after knowing damn well it was true, and then sending harassment her way for months, which almost resulted in her taking her life. All because her trauma was an inconvenience to you. I don't think Emmy cares. I don't think she cares about anyone but herself. The same woman that's claiming she wants to be an advocate for sexual assault survivors and standing up for yourself, denied other people's experiences, brushed it off to the side, and then went on to lie about her own. And as I'm sure you know, when you lie about sexual assault, it only makes it harder for people who are coming forward about their experiences to be believed. She would respond to this with blanket definitions and zero evidence of this ever happening. You can talk about your medical conditions, you can talk about your mental illness, but it's not an excuse to act like a bad person and to commit the evil acts that she has. And Emmy, after all of these years of this behavior, and being at the age of 31 going on 32, I don't think she can change. After all of this came to light and she naturally got ridiculed, she might have ran off of Twitter, but she's doing fine. She's going to Pokemon World Championships, smiling ear to ear, having a blast. But meanwhile, all the people that she's affected, they're still picking up the pieces of their life after she came in like a bull in a china shop.
Damn.
She doesn't care. This is who she is. This is Emmy Jones. We've now reached the conclusion of this video. After almost damn near an hour, after everything we've gone through, where do we go from here? I strongly believe Emmy Jones is a danger to our community. I do not believe she deserves a platform. From what initially went to a sweet and innocent love for a franchise turned into a desire to control the community that she was a part of, a years-long quest for power, and that was going to be achieved by any means necessary. And once when she got it, she manipulated her fan base financially, taking advantage of them at every turn, sending them to attack fellow community members, and not just that, friends of hers who were affected by other people close to her were victims of true evil, and she couldn't see past her own ignorance. Emmy, first and foremost, is a content creator, and her content has been lackluster and middling for years. Not just that, but it's been few and far between, with so many videos being promo pieces or videos that were uploaded out of necessity for sponsorship deals. If you're viewed as one of the top content creators in your community, part of your job is to supply your fans with content, giving back to the community that supports you so much. What exactly is Emmy providing us at this point? What purpose does Emmy, at this point in 2025, exactly serve the Sonic community? Because for the past few years, it feels like it has been
just
nothing
likes
but
attention,
drama
bro.
and nonsense.
That's
You know
all
what
it is.
persists? Her relationship.
That's all it is, man. She just likes attention. That's all. She doesn't serve any purpose to you guys, but in her mind, you guys serve purpose to her, which is attention, whether it be good or bad, bro.
With Sega. I am a Sonic channel first and foremost, and while yes, part of my job is supplying my audience with content for them to enjoy and inevitably having them.
Is this the guy? Is this him?
Yes, part of my job is supplying.
Oh, I'm gonna rob you. I'm gonna rob you of that shadow cup. Leave your window open tonight.
My audience with content for them to enjoy and inevitably having them walk away with a smile or something thought-provoking about the franchise. But also, I love Sonic, so I want to promote the brand. I want to see it succeed and to see the franchise represent itself to the best of its ability with respect and dignity. And Emmy Jones being associated anywhere near that is the opposite. I hope that I was able to communicate in this video that yes, Emmy has connections with Sega, and I understand that there are friendships that extend beyond just Sonic, but to continue associating Sonic with her is doing an active disservice to this brand.
I even know who she was. I'll be so for real.
She did collaborations with companies such as IHOP and Topgolf to promote their Sonic the Hedgehog collaborations, but was this combined 40,000 view total worth it? We're in the big 2025 now. There are so many Sonic the Hedgehog content creators and content creators in general who are doing so much good for the Sonic brand, and while me, along with them, are getting plenty of opportunity, community. Let's continue
Fire,
having
bro.
the people who are being an active, positive force in this community be the people to represent it. And that's what this is all about. Community. Every once in a while,
I'm
there
not
will be
heavily
people
into
who-
like the Sonic fandom. You know what I mean? Again, like I said, like I just like keep up with like the only things that I want to keep up with Sonic, and that's it. So I don't really know much about Sonic creators. Yeah, this is insane. I think first glance. Yeah, this is insane. This is fucking
come
crazy.
around for ulterior motives.
Like,
But
what
this
the
community
fuck?
has proven to be a bright, beautiful playground where anybody can do anything they want, create any fan game, create some of the most beautiful art, create in-person community spaces where everybody can feel loved and accepted and maybe at home for the first time in forever. And that is what this is about. It's not about the money, it's not about the power, it's about me and you existing together in the same space and enjoying the things that we both love. So please, to everybody watching this video, and even Emmy, choose love.
This is a very good video. Fuck her, bro. That's crazy. Oh my god. W video. I like that video. That was a good video. W YouTuber.